The princess, who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye, died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
The world watched in stunned silence as Queen Camilla entered the royal courts of justice in London, a moment that many thought impossible just weeks earlier. The investigation into Princess Diana's death, officially closed years ago, had been dramatically reopened following the discovery of new evidence that sent shockwaves through the British establishment. Now, in an unprecedented move, the Queen Consort herself was appearing before the special tribunal to address allegations that had haunted the royal family for decades. What would she reveal about that fateful night in Paris? The truth, it seems, was more complex and haunting than anyone had imagined. The shocking court appearance. The courtroom fell silent as Queen Camilla, dressed in somber navy blue rather than her usual royal attire, was sworn in. Gone was the regal confidence that had defined her public appearances since becoming Queen Consort. In its place was a woman who appeared to have aged years in mere weeks, her hands visibly trembling as she took her seat in the witness box. Judge Richard Harrington, specially appointed to lead this extraordinary inquiry, reminded the court that even royalty would be held to the same standards of honesty as any other witness. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice echoing through the hushed courtroom, "you have requested this appearance to address certain matters regarding the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. You may proceed." Camilla nodded, took a deep breath, and leaned toward the microphone. "Thank you, Your Honor. I appear before this court today not as Queen Consort, but as Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman I was in August 1997. I am here to acknowledge my role in the events surrounding Diana's death, and to offer an apology that I know comes far too late." The gallery erupted in gasps and murmurs, forcing the judge to call for order. The world watching on live feeds across the globe collectively held its breath. After decades of speculation, conspiracy theories, and official denials, was the truth about Diana's death finally going to be revealed? The confession begins. "I want to be clear," Camilla continued once order was restored, "that neither I nor Charles, His Majesty the King, ordered or planned Diana's death. That allegation, which has circulated for years, is categorically false." She paused, taking a sip of water, her hand still shaking. "However, I bear responsibility in ways that have never been acknowledged publicly, and which the previous investigations either missed or deliberately overlooked." According to Camilla's testimony, in the summer of 1997, she had become increasingly concerned about Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed, and particularly about her plans to spend time with him in Paris. It wasn't jealousy as many have suggested, she insisted. It was fear about what she might reveal during this new relationship. Diana had always been unpredictable, and she knew things about the royal family, about Charles, about me, about arrangements that were made, that could have been devastating if made public. Camilla then described how she had reached out through intermediaries to several people who had been responsible for monitoring Diana's activities. Not to harm her, she emphasized, but to ensure we had advance warning of any potentially damaging revelations. The fatal chain of events. What followed in Camilla's testimony was a detailed account of how these seemingly routine surveillance measures spiraled into tragedy. According to her testimony, she had contacted a former security officer with connections to both British and French intelligence who had previously helped manage sensitive information related to the royal family. "I asked him to ensure that we knew who Diana was meeting with in Paris and what she was discussing," Camilla stated. "Standard monitoring, nothing more. But I learned later that this individual took more extensive measures than I had authorized." Camilla described how this security contact had recruited Henri Paul, the deputy head of security at the Ritz Hotel in Paris, to report on Diana's movements and conversations. Paul, who would later drive the car in the fatal crash, had apparently been pressured into cooperating through references to his history of accepting payments for information about hotel guests. "What I did not know at the time," Camilla continued, her voice breaking, "was that this operative had also suggested to Mr. Paul that it would be helpful if Diana and Dodi could be encouraged to leave the hotel through the rear entrance to avoid paparazzi, and to drive at a speed that would make photography difficult." The court sat in stunned silence as Camila acknowledged that while there was no order to cause harm, her actions had set in motion the chain of events that led to the fatal crash. The instruction to Henri Paul to drive quickly while the paparazzi followed was a terrible miscalculation by people acting indirectly on my behalf. Miscalculation that had devastating consequences. The cover-up. Perhaps even more shocking than the revelation about the events leading to the crash was Camila's detailed account of the cover-up that followed. According to her testimony, when news of Diana's accident reached London, her first call was not to Charles as had always been believed, but to this same security operative. I needed to know exactly what had happened and how directly it could be traced back to my inquiries, she admitted. What I learned horrified me. This wasn't supposed to happen. No one was supposed to be hurt. It was meant to be nothing more than monitoring, perhaps some subtle discouragement of her relationship with Dodi. Camila described how within hours of the crash, a small team of officials had begun working to ensure that any connection between royal concerns about Diana and the accident would be eliminated from the official investigation. Certain files were removed from circulation. Certain witnesses were encouraged to adjust their recollections. The French investigation was subtly directed toward focusing exclusively on the paparazzi and the driver's blood alcohol level. She acknowledged that when traces of antidepressants and other substances were found in Henri Paul's system, this became the perfect explanation. One that diverted attention from any other factors that might have influenced his driving that night. I told myself it was necessary, Camila said quietly. I told myself it was protecting the monarchy, protecting Charles, protecting the boys. But the truth is, I was protecting myself from having to face what my actions had inadvertently caused. The decades of silence. As her testimony continued, Camila addressed the question that hung over the proceedings. Why come forward now, after decades of silence? For years, I believed the lie we had constructed, she explained. That Diana's death was simply a tragic accident caused by a drunk driver and aggressive photographers. I compartmentalized my role, minimized it in my own mind, told myself that my inquiries had been reasonable, and that the outcome was not my responsibility. According to Camila, this carefully maintained psychological distance began to crumble following Queen Elizabeth's death and Charles's accession to the throne. Becoming Queen Consort forced me to confront the path that had led me there, she said. The weight of the crown makes it impossible to carry the weight of this lie any longer. She revealed that the final breaking point came when Prince William's children, particularly Charlotte, began asking questions about the grandmother they had never known. When William told me that Charlotte had asked him if the stories about Granny Camilla being involved in Diana's death were true, and I saw the pain in his eyes as he related this, I knew the time for truth had come. Camila acknowledged that her confession was not entirely voluntary. According to her testimony, new evidence had recently emerged through a deathbed confession from the security operative she had employed, who had documented his actions as a form of insurance. These documents had made their way to the public prosecutor's office, prompting the reopening of the investigation. I could have continued to deny, she admitted, but the evidence would have emerged regardless, and I could not bear the thought of William and Harry learning the truth from court records, rather than hearing it from me directly. The apology. The most powerful moment of the testimony came when Camila directly addressed William and Harry, who were not present in the courtroom, but who she knew would be watching. To William and Harry, I know that no apology can ever be sufficient. Your mother should have been at your weddings. She should know her grandchildren. She should have lived the life that was ahead of her. While I did not intend her harm, my actions contributed to creating the circumstances in which she was harmed. For that, I am profoundly, unforgivably sorry. Turning back to the judge, Camila concluded, I accept whatever legal consequences this court determines appropriate for my role in these events and the subsequent concealment of the truth. I do not ask for forgiveness, as I'm not sure that would be possible. I ask only to finally tell the truth, for Diana's memory and for her sons. As she finished speaking, the courtroom remained in stunned silence. The woman who had become Queen Consort of the United Kingdom had just implicated herself in events leading to Princess Diana's death, and in the decades-long cover-up that followed. The constitutional implications were enormous, and the personal tragedy had been laid bare in a way few had thought possible. The aftermath. As the court adjourned to consider the extraordinary testimony, legal experts began debating the potential consequences. While Camila had not admitted to intentionally causing harm, her acknowledgement of initiating surveillance that led to the fatal crash and her role in concealing evidence could potentially result in criminal charges ranging from conspiracy to pervert the course of justice to involuntary manslaughter. The immediate constitutional crisis was unprecedented. King Charles, who had reportedly been aware of Camilla's intention to testify but not the full extent of what she would reveal, was facing calls to address the nation. Palace sources described him as devastated by the revelations, but supportive of the truth finally being acknowledged. Prince William and Prince Harry, despite years of strained relations, were said to have spoken by phone shortly after the testimony concluded. No statement was immediately forthcoming, but sources close to both princes indicated they were processing the revelations with support from their respective families. Public reaction was explosive, with crowds gathering outside Buckingham Palace, some demanding Charles's abdication, others simply laying flowers in Diana's memory. The testimony had reopened wounds that had never fully healed in the British psyche, where Diana remained the people's princess even decades after her death. For Queen Camilla, the future remained uncertain as she left the courtroom under heavy security, no longer wearing the mantle of royalty with confidence, but instead bearing the weight of a truth that had taken 28 years to acknowledge. Whether this confession would bring closure or create a new chapter of turmoil for the monarchy remained to be seen. What was clear was that the fairy tale narrative of royal succession had been permanently altered by the queen who finally chose truth over the throne.
Great news here, where the big headline is, of course, that the royal baby is on the way. Prince William and Kate.
Big news just came out about Kate Middleton and Prince William, something huge that no one saw coming. For weeks, people have been wondering what's really going on, and now the truth is finally out. This isn't just any announcement, it could change everything for the royal family in a way no one expected. The palace has been quiet for a while, but now the silence is broken. What did they say? Why does it matter so much? And what happens next? Every detail of this shocking news is unfolding right now, and it's something the whole world is watching closely. The announcement revealed. Just a little while ago, the world heard some huge news from Prince William and Kate Middleton. The royal couple shared that they are expecting their fourth child. Yes, you heard that right. The Prince and Princess of Wales are going to be parents again. This surprise announcement has taken everyone by storm, and people everywhere are already celebrating. The announcement came through an official statement from Kensington Palace, which was also shared on their social media pages. The post read, "The Prince and Princess of Wales are delighted to share that they are expecting their fourth child. Both mother and baby are doing well. The family is grateful for the kind wishes from everyone." The palace also confirmed that Kate is in the early stages of her pregnancy and is resting at home with her family. Royal fans from around the world are now wondering when the baby is due, whether it will be a boy or girl, and what name they will choose. The buzz is real, and the excitement is growing every minute. The context behind the announcement. Many people are now asking, why now? What made them decide to share this news today? And honestly, the timing of this announcement is very interesting. For the past few months, there's been a lot of talk and worry about Kate's health. She had been away from public events for a while, and fans were wondering if everything was okay. Now, it all makes sense. Kate was likely resting and taking care of herself because of the pregnancy. Sharing the news today clears up all those questions and rumors. It also lets everyone know that she is fine, and there's a beautiful reason behind her absence. Also, this announcement comes right after a few major royal events. Recently, Prince William took on more duties on behalf of King Charles, who has also been dealing with health concerns. So, this news brings a bit of joy and light to the royal family during a serious time. If we look a little deeper, there may be a special reason behind choosing this particular time to share the news. Kate and William made the announcement right after Mother's Day celebrations in the UK. It feels like a beautiful way to honor motherhood and new beginnings. It's also springtime, a season that stands for new life, hope, and fresh starts. Maybe this was their way of spreading some positivity when the world really needs it. There's something sweet about the way they made this announcement. They didn't do a big press conference or call reporters. They chose to keep it simple and personal. By sharing it on social media and through the palace, they made sure the message came directly from them to the people. It shows how connected William and Kate are to the modern world, where millions of people wake up and check the news on their phones first thing in the morning. What this means for the royal family. Now, let's talk about what this means for the royal family. A new royal baby is always big news, but this one feels extra special. Why? Because it adds a new chapter to the future of the British monarchy. With Prince William being the next in line to the throne after his father, King Charles, every child he has becomes part of the future royal story. This new baby will be fifth in line to the throne, right after their big brothers and sister, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Even though this baby might not be the next king or queen, they will still grow up as a major part of the royal family. Some royal experts are already saying that this baby will bring a fresh wave of love and attention to the monarchy. In recent years, the royal family has faced a lot of challenges: scandals, family rifts, and health worries. But babies always have a way of bringing everyone back together. A royal birth is something everyone, young and old, can celebrate. This also shows that Kate and William are fully embracing their role as the future king and queen. They're not just sitting back and waiting for their turn. They're building a strong, loving family that will support the crown in the years to come. Every time they step out with their children, they show the world that the monarchy is not just about duty. It's about family, love, and values. Kate, in particular, has always been known as the people's princess of this generation. She is loved for being graceful, kind, and down-to-earth. Her decision to have a fourth child at a time when the world is going through so much shows her strength and her belief in family. People look up to her, and this news will only make her even more loved. For Prince William, this is also a proud moment. He has often spoken about how important his family is to him. He lost his mother, Princess Diana, at a young age, and has always made it clear that being a good father is his #1 job. This new baby gives him one more reason to smile, and one more child to love and protect. The royal family will surely rally around Kate and William during this time. We can expect to see more of King Charles showing support, and even Prince Harry and Meghan Markle might reach out with their congratulations. After all, a new baby has the power to heal wounds and bring families closer, no matter how far apart they may seem. There's also talk that this new baby could change how royal duties are shared in the future. As Kate focuses on her health and the new baby, Prince William might take on even more public work. This could also open doors for younger royals, like Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, to step in and help with royal events. No matter what happens next, one thing is for sure: the world will be watching. Every tiny detail, from Kate's baby bump to the baby's first photos, will be loved and talked about by millions. This child will grow up in the spotlight, just like their siblings, but also with the love and protection of a family that has learned from its past. The excitement is real. The love is pouring in. And once again, the world is reminded why the royal family holds such a special place in so many hearts. Whether you're a fan of the royals or not, you can't help but smile at the thought of a new baby bringing joy, hope, and a fresh beginning. Make sure to stay updated because this story is far from over. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. More big news could be coming soon, and you won't want to be the last to know.
Buckingham Palace, which has announced that the King has been diagnosed with cancer.
Can't mimic voices for love or money. I'm completely hopeless at it. I was the only one, so I think she carved her own role.
Dark clouds have gathered over the royal family. Queen Camila, always strong in front of the world, has been seen breaking down in tears after receiving shocking news. A life sentence that changes everything. The palace halls, once filled with power and control, now feel heavy with fear and uncertainty. At the same time, another heartbreaking update shakes the kingdom. King Charles, already fighting a tough battle with cancer, faces a new twist in his health that no one saw coming. The weight of it all is too much to bear, and the royal family is struggling to hold things together. What led to this moment? What does this mean for the future of the monarchy? The truth behind these shocking events is more heartbreaking than anyone could have imagined. Queen Camilla's alleged life sentence. The phrase life sentence is usually something we hear in courtrooms. It's a punishment for serious crimes, something that keeps people behind bars forever. So, when people say Queen Camilla has been given a life sentence, what does that actually mean? The truth is, Camilla is not in any legal trouble. She has not been sent to prison. Instead, this so-called sentence seems to be a metaphor. Many believe that Camilla is now trapped in a role she never truly wanted, facing endless criticism and public scrutiny. She has stepped into a position that comes with huge responsibilities, and it's weighing heavily on her. The rumors started spreading on social media and in tabloid newspapers. Some headlines made it sound like she was facing actual jail time. Others exaggerated her emotional state, claiming she was in tears and unable to handle the pressure. But where did this all come from? It seems that many of these stories were fueled by the ongoing debates about her place in the royal family. Some people still see her as the other woman from the past. Even though years have passed since Princess Diana's tragic death, the shadow of that history still lingers. Some tabloids thrive on this controversy, pushing dramatic headlines to attract attention. So, is Queen Camilla really serving a life sentence? Not in a legal sense, but emotionally, she might feel like she is stuck in a role that comes with endless criticism and expectations. Why Queen Camilla might be struggling emotionally. Camilla's journey into the royal family has never been smooth. From the very beginning, she was labeled as the woman who came between Prince Charles and Princess Diana. The world loved Diana. She was the people's princess, known for her kindness and warmth. So, when Charles's affair with Camilla became public, it was like a betrayal to many. Even after Diana's passing, Camilla was seen as a controversial figure. When she finally married Charles in 2005, many people still refused to accept her. And now, as queen consort, the pressure has only increased. Public perception of Camilla remains divided. Some have warmed up to her over the years, seeing her as a dedicated wife to Charles. But others still view her with suspicion. The comparison to Diana never goes away, and that can be emotionally draining. Imagine stepping into a role where millions of people constantly judge you, compare you, and question your worth. That's the reality Camilla faces every day. And then, there's the pressure within the royal family itself. Prince William and Prince Harry were deeply affected by their mother's story. While William has remained mostly respectful towards Camilla, Harry has been more outspoken. In his book Spare, Harry made it clear that he saw Camilla as someone who played the long game to secure her place in the royal family. These tensions, whether spoken or unspoken, add to the emotional burden Camilla carries. Now, with King Charles battling cancer, things have become even more complicated. She is expected to be strong, supportive, and ready to step up in his absence. But behind the scenes, she may be struggling with the weight of it all. Camilla's role in the monarchy becoming queen consort was never part of Camilla's original plan. When she married Charles, there were talks that she would only be called princess consort out of respect for Diana's legacy. But over time, Charles made it clear that he wanted Camilla to have full recognition as his queen. When Queen Elizabeth passed away in 2022, Camilla officially stepped into the role. But with that title came massive responsibilities. She is now expected to support the king, attend royal events, and uphold the image of the monarchy. Her transition from Duchess of Cornwall to queen consort was not an easy one. People still criticized her, questioned her worth, and compared her to Diana. She had to work extra hard to prove herself. Even now, she faces backlash whenever she makes a public appearance. Some believe she is undeserving of the title, while others feel she has earned her place. The question remains, does she feel trapped in this role? Some insiders suggest that Camilla never truly wanted this level of attention. She was comfortable staying in the background, but now, with Charles's health crisis, she is being pushed into a more central position. And with every move she makes, the world is watching. King Charles's cancer update. Just when the world was adjusting to the idea of Charles as king, shocking news came out. He had been diagnosed with cancer. The announcement was made by Buckingham Palace, but they did not reveal what type of cancer he has. All they confirmed was that it is not prostate cancer. The news left many people concerned. Charles is in his mid-70s, and health issues at this stage can be serious. He has already started treatment, but the palace has kept many details private. Medical experts have weighed in, saying that early detection is key, but without more information, it's hard to predict his recovery. The big question now is, how is the royal family handling this? How the royal family is reacting? Camilla has been by Charles's side, attending to royal duties while also supporting him behind closed doors. Some reports suggest that she has been under immense stress, trying to balance everything at once. Prince William has stepped up in his father's absence. As the next in line for the throne, he has taken on more responsibilities. His focus is not just on his father's health, but also on keeping the monarchy stable. And what about Prince Harry? His reaction has been one of the biggest talking points. After years of tension with the royal family, he made a quick trip to the UK after hearing about his father's condition. But the visit was short, and there was no sign of deep reconciliation. Many wonder if this crisis will bring the family closer, or if the distance will remain. The future of the monarchy, amidst health concerns. If King Charles's health worsens, what happens next? The answer is clear. Prince William is next in line, but is he ready? Many believe he has been preparing for this role his entire life. He is respected, responsible, and has the public's support. But stepping into the role of king is not easy, and with his father's illness, he may have to take on more leadership sooner than expected. The monarchy itself is at a crossroads. Public opinion about the royal family is changing. Some people still love and support them, while others question whether the monarchy should continue at all. Charles' illness and Camilla's struggles only add to the uncertainty. For now, the world watches and waits. Will Charles recover? Will Camilla find strength in her role? And will this crisis bring the family together or tear them apart? The royal family is facing one of its darkest moments, and the future has never felt more uncertain. With Queen Camilla in tears and King Charles's health hanging in the balance, the world is left wondering, what happens next? As more details unfold, this story is far from over. Stay tuned for the latest updates, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so you never miss a breaking royal update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
The presenters on every news channel were saying injured but expected to make a full recovery, and I have no idea why, but it made me so angry.
She stood there, shaking, her face twisted in disbelief. The courtroom was silent, too silent, except for the judge's final words, guilty. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Sarah Spencer, Princess Diana's sister, had just been sentenced for a crime no one thought possible, her own sister's murder. For years, conspiracy theories swirled around Diana's tragic death, but no one saw this coming. Sarah, once a quiet figure in the background, was now at the center of the most shocking twist in royal history. And when the verdict hit, she lost it. Screaming, thrashing, complete chaos. What really happened behind those palace doors? How did Diana's own sister end up here? And most importantly, was justice truly served? Diana's relationship with her sister. Most people know Princess Diana as the sweet, kind-hearted princess who captured millions of hearts. But very few know the messy, complicated story she shared with her own sister. Yes, behind all the glitz and glamour of royal life, there was a hidden rivalry brewing between Diana and her older sister, Lady Sarah Spencer. What many people don't know is that before Diana ever met Prince Charles, Sarah dated him first. Shocking, right? It's hard to imagine, but there was a time when it was Sarah, not Diana, who was close to becoming a princess. They say Sarah and Charles met at a royal gathering, and for a short while, they dated. Sarah was charming, bold, and very sure of herself. Some people even thought she was perfect for Charles, but things didn't work out, and the relationship ended. Still, it left a mark, because Sarah was the one who later introduced Diana to Charles, and that, some say, was where the trouble really began. At first, everything looked normal. Diana was young, shy, and had never been in the royal spotlight. Sarah, being the older sister, probably felt protective. But the moment Charles turned his attention to Diana, things started to change. Suddenly, it was Diana attending royal events. It was Diana everyone wanted to talk to. And it was Diana's face on every newspaper. Can you imagine how that must have felt for Sarah? Watching your younger sister slip into the life you once dreamed of? The same man you once dated is now marrying your sister. The same family you wanted to be part of is now calling her princess. It wasn't just about love anymore. It was about losing the spotlight, losing the dream. Over time, the gap between the two sisters grew wider. There were fewer public appearances together, fewer family photos. People close to the family started whispering about jealousy, fights, and cold stares at private gatherings. Some even claimed that Sarah always felt like Diana stole the royal life that was supposed to be hers. Years went by, but that bitterness never really left. Every time Diana smiled for the cameras, every time she was praised for being the people's princess, Sarah's anger grew. Maybe she tried to hide it. Maybe she played along in front of the cameras. But inside, there was a storm brewing, and nobody, absolutely nobody, saw what was coming next. The shocking arrest. A twist. No one could believe it all started with a piece of breaking news that felt almost too crazy to be true. One quiet morning, the world woke up to headlines that left everyone speechless. Diana's sister arrested for involvement in Princess's death. Cameras rushed to Lady Sarah's estate. Helicopters flew overhead. Reporters screamed questions from the gates. And there she was, Lady Sarah, being walked out by police officers, handcuffed, her face cold and expressionless. No one could believe it. After so many years, after all the rumors and theories about Diana's death, it came back to her own family, her own sister. The same person who once shared toys and secrets was now accused of something so dark, so cruel. It was beyond imagination. People asked, why now? What changed after all these years? And then the truth slowly started coming out. Turns out a new investigation had been quietly happening behind the scenes. Technology that didn't exist back in the 90s was now being used to go over every detail of Diana's death. Old phone records were pulled. Witnesses who stayed silent for years finally came forward. One even claimed they heard Sarah making threats about Diana long before the tragic car crash. But what truly shocked everyone was the discovery of secret phone recordings. In one call, Sarah was heard saying things like, "She doesn't deserve that crown. It was supposed to be me." Another recording captured her talking to a mysterious man, hinting at a plan to end this once and for all. It became clear that Sarah wasn't just jealous, she was angry. Angry enough to plot something terrible. The prosecutors wasted no time. They painted a picture of a sister consumed by envy. A woman who watched her younger sister get everything she ever wanted. Love, fame, and the crown. A woman who couldn't stand living in that shadow anymore. They even suggested that Sarah had a secret affair with a powerful figure, someone inside the royal circle. This man, they claimed, helped her plan everything. Together, they made sure Diana would be out of the way, forever. Throughout the trial, Sarah never shed a tear. She sat there, stone-faced. No emotions, no regrets. The media gave her a new name, the Ice Queen of the Crown. And honestly, it fit. Because while the world cried for Diana, Sarah just stared ahead, cold and silent. The question on everyone's mind was simple. What finally cracked this case wide open? And the answer was just as shocking. A former royal staff member who had worked closely with Sarah finally broke his silence. He couldn't live with the guilt anymore. He handed over old letters, secret recordings, and even a diary where Sarah had written dark thoughts about Diana. With all this evidence, there was no turning back. The sentencing day. When everything fell apart. The day of the sentencing was like something out of a movie. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, cameras, journalists, all waiting for the final verdict. The royal family? Nowhere to be seen. Not a single member showed up. The silence from the royals was deafening. As the judge entered, the whole room fell quiet. You could hear a pin drop. The judge looked straight at Sarah and read the verdict. Guilty. You are hereby sentenced for your role in the unlawful death of Diana, Princess of Wales. And just like that, everything broke loose. For the first time during the whole trial, Sarah snapped. Her cold mask shattered. She stood up, screaming at the top of her lungs. I did it for the family. You think she was perfect? She wasn't. She destroyed everything. Her voice echoed in the courtroom. People gasped. Cameras flashed. Reporters scrambled to capture every second. But Sarah didn't stop there. She pointed towards the judge, her face red with rage. You have no idea what she did. Ask Charles. Ask the royal family. They knew. They all knew. She tried to lunge forward, screaming that Diana deserved it. Court security rushed in, grabbing her arms, pulling her back. But Sarah fought hard. She screamed every secret she could think of, hoping the cameras would pick it all up. Ask them about the deals, the threats, the lies. This family is rotten to the core. The room was pure chaos. People covered their mouths in shock. Reporters couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Some say even the judge looked shaken. As Sarah was dragged out, still screaming, the whole world watched. It was a moment no one would ever forget. The courtroom may have closed, but the questions still remain. Was justice truly served, or is there more to the story? Diana's death has always been surrounded by mystery, and this shocking twist only adds to the uncertainty. What do you think? Was this the right verdict, or is there something bigger being hidden from the world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on more shocking stories like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's always more to uncover, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.
I think royal duty is extremely important. I think it's part of the fabric of what the royal family and any future monarch has, and it's something that is very important, and I take duty very seriously.
For years, the public has known Prince William as the responsible royal, the steady future king who follows protocol and maintains the dignity of the monarchy. In contrast to his younger brother Harry, who's made headlines with explosive interviews, a tell-all memoir, and his dramatic exit from royal duties, William has been the model heir, reliable, controlled, and scandal-free. But recent events have shattered that carefully crafted image, showing that perhaps the two brothers aren't so different after all. What DNA revelation has caused the future king to follow in his brother's controversial footsteps? The fallout has left the monarchy reeling in ways no one could have predicted. The scandal breaks. It began with what should have been a private medical procedure. In early 2025, Prince William agreed to participate in a research study at King's College London, examining genetic markers for male pattern baldness, a subject he'd often joked about publicly. The standard procedure required a simple DNA sample, which William provided without hesitation, signing routine confidentiality agreements. 3 weeks later, William's world imploded. Somehow, portions of his genetic profile were leaked to the British tabloid The Sun, which published a sensational front-page story, claiming the test had revealed stunning information about the future king's heritage that raises questions about the Windsor bloodline. While the initial report was frustratingly vague, it was enough to set off a firestorm of speculation. Palace officials immediately denied any impropriety, condemning the egregious breach of medical ethics and threatening legal action against both the newspaper and the research facility. But the damage was done. Within hours, the hashtag number sign, Royal DNASCANDAL, was trending worldwide, with rumors ranging from the plausible to the absurd. What happened next stunned even veteran royal watchers. Rather than maintain dignified silence as royal protocol dictated, William took to social media with a hastily recorded video that showed him visibly agitated, his typically polished appearance disheveled. For years I've watched my brother be torn apart for speaking his truth, William said, his voice uncharacteristically strained. I criticized him, both publicly and privately. I thought maintaining the institution was more important than anything else, but now that I'm the target of these violations and lies, I understand what drove him to break free. The video, clearly made without palace approval, was deleted within 30 minutes. But not before it had been viewed millions of times and captured by countless users who continued to circulate it. The composed, controlled Prince William, the world thought they knew, had vanished, replaced by a man on the verge of a very public breakdown. The Harry parallel. What made William's situation particularly remarkable was how closely it mirrored his brother's path. Like Harry, he was now facing intense media scrutiny about his private life. Like Harry, he was chafing against palace restrictions on how to respond. And like Harry, he was beginning to publicly question the system he'd been raised to uphold. Royal insiders reported that King Charles was deeply concerned about his elder son's behavior, particularly given how critical William had been when Harry followed a similar path. One former palace aide told The Times, "William was absolutely furious with Harry for going public with family matters. He considered it the ultimate betrayal of royal principles. Now he's doing exactly the same thing, which suggests whatever was revealed in that DNA test has truly shaken him to his core." Princess Catherine was notably absent during the initial days of the scandal, reportedly taking their 3 children to her parents' home in Bucklebury to shield them from the media frenzy. Her silence spoke volumes, as the normally supportive royal wife made no public show of standing by her husband. Most ironically, the only family member to publicly support William was Harry himself, who issued a brief statement from California. "No one understands better than I do the pressure of having your private life exploited for public consumption. Despite our differences, I stand with my brother and respect his right to respond to these intrusions as he sees fit." The DNA revelation, as William's public behavior grew increasingly erratic, skipping a scheduled appearance at a military ceremony, being photographed arguing with aides outside Kensington Palace, and reportedly refusing calls from his father. More details about the DNA findings emerged from multiple sources. The test had allegedly revealed that William carried genetic markers inconsistent with the known Windsor profile. Specifically, the analysis showed heritage that raised questions about the official narrative of his royal lineage. While the tabloids gleefully speculated about potential infidelity in Charles and Diana's marriage, genetics experts noted that such testing frequently reveals unexpected ancestry several generations back. What seemed to trigger William's most extreme reaction, however, wasn't just the content of the revelations, but the palace's response to them. According to sources close to the prince, senior royal advisors had prepared a strategy of blanket denials, controlled leaks to friendly media outlets, and a campaign to discredit the research facility, all without addressing the substance of the findings. It was exactly the same playbook they used against Harry and Meghan, one source told The Guardian. William suddenly found himself on the receiving end of the institution's protection machinery, and he didn't like what he saw. It was as if a veil had been lifted. The family division deepens. The aftermath of William's interview created the greatest crisis for the monarchy since Harry and Meghan's departure. King Charles, reportedly devastated by his son's public comments, retreated to Balmoral Castle in Scotland, cancelling several planned engagements. Palace sources described the king as being caught between his role as monarch and his love for his son, an echo of Queen Elizabeth's dilemma during Harry's exit. The royal family split into factions. Princess Anne and Prince Edward publicly supported the traditional palace approach of dignity and discretion, with Anne telling reporters, "Some conversations belong behind closed doors, regardless of circumstance." In contrast, several of the younger royals, including Princess Eugenie and Zara Tindall, were rumored to have privately expressed support for William's newfound outspokenness. Most notably, Harry reached out directly to his brother, with sources claiming the two spoke by video call for over 2 hours, their longest conversation in years. According to those familiar with the call, Harry offered advice on handling media pressure outside the palace system, and shared his own experiences with prioritizing personal truth over institutional expectations. Catherine finally returned to London a week after the interview, but observers noted a distinct coolness between the couple during their first public appearance together. Body language experts pointed to their physical distance, minimal eye contact, and Catherine's strained smile as evidence of serious marital tension resulting from William's unilateral decisions. The royal rebel, As days turned into weeks, William showed no signs of backing down or conforming to palace expectations. Instead, he seemed to be taking pages directly from Harry's playbook, embracing a new role as royal rebel with increasing confidence. He launched his own social media accounts independent of Kensington Palace's official channels, giving him direct access to the public without institutional filtering. His first post, "Time for some overdue truth-telling," gained over 1 million followers within hours. In a move that particularly alarmed traditional royalists, William began selectively engaging with comments about the monarchy's colonial past, acknowledging historical wrongs, and suggesting that full accountability was necessary for the institution to evolve. These comments echoed positions Harry and Meghan had taken years earlier, positions that had been privately dismissed by William at the time. Most shocking was William's announced partnership with Netflix for a documentary series examining the relationship between the British monarchy and the media, a project with uncomfortable parallels to Harry and Meghan's much-criticized Netflix deal. The working title, "Behind the Palace Walls," suggested a level of institutional critique that would have been unimaginable from William just months earlier. "It's as if he's deliberately retracing Harry's steps," one royal historian noted. "The same boundary breaking, the same media partnerships, the same willingness to question the monarchy publicly. The only difference is that William can't be exiled from the succession as easily as the spare." The family summit. With the monarchy facing its greatest crisis in generations, King Charles finally took decisive action. He summoned both William and Harry, the latter reluctantly agreeing to return to the UK for the first time in years, to a private family summit at Sandringham, reminiscent of the 2020 meeting that had formalized Harry's departure from royal duties. Unlike that earlier meeting, this summit included no courtiers, advisors, or other family members, just Charles and his 2 sons behind closed doors for nearly 6 hours. When they emerged, all 3 looked emotionally drained but, according to staff, somewhat reconciled. No formal statement followed the meeting, but dramatic changes soon became apparent. William returned to royal duties, though with a noticeably different approach, more outspoken, less bound by convention, and more willing to acknowledge problems within the institution. His Netflix project was reconfigured as a documentary about modernizing the monarchy, with the king's grudging approval. Most significantly, Harry announced plans for his first extended return to the UK since his departure, with a carefully negotiated agreement for limited royal duties focusing on charitable work. Sources close to both brothers suggested that William had insisted on Harry's partial return as a condition of his own continued cooperation with royal expectations. The new normal today, months after the DNA scandal that triggered this extraordinary chain of events, the British monarchy operates in a changed landscape. William has neither fully returned to his former compliant role, nor completely broken free in the manner of his brother. Instead, he has carved out a new position as an internal reformer, still committed to the monarchy's future, but determined to modernize it on his own terms. The palace has never officially acknowledged the specific DNA findings that sparked William's transformation. Most royal experts now believe the test revealed something about William's ancestry that contradicted official Windsor history. Not recent enough to affect his claim to the throne, but significant enough to make him question the institution's relationship with truth. William's relationship with Harry remains complex, but has undeniably improved. The brothers are not the inseparable team they once were, but they now speak regularly and have made several joint appearances focusing on their mother's charitable legacy. Observers note that William has adopted several of Harry's perspectives about royal duty and institutional reform, while Harry has shown new respect for William's commitment to preserving a modernized monarchy. The DNA test may have revealed unexpected information about William's genetic heritage, one royal commentator observed. But the real revelation was how quickly the perfect prince could transform into a royal rebel when the institution turned its machinery against him. In finding himself suddenly in Harry's shoes, William found a new understanding of his brother, and perhaps a new version of himself. For the British monarchy, long defined by tradition and continuity, the future now holds something far less predictable, an heir who has experienced his own version of royal rebellion and emerged with a determination to change the very institution he will someday lead.
Let's make a show.
Let's go. I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary This is probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life.
Did Meghan Markle just stir up more royal drama? It looks like King Charles is not happy about her latest Netflix project. But why? What is it about this new show that has the palace worried? Ever since Meghan and Harry left the royal family, they have been telling their side of the story, through interviews, books, and documentaries. And let's be real, it hasn't exactly been friendly towards the monarchy. So, now that Meghan is back with a brand new Netflix project, people are asking, is this another hit against the royal family? How King Charles reportedly reacted. Let's talk about how King Charles really feels about Meghan Markle's new Netflix show. Because let's be honest, this isn't the first time she and Prince Harry have made headlines with a big media deal. And every time they do, the royal family ends up in the middle of another controversy. The drama between the royal family and Meghan and Harry didn't start with this Netflix show. It has been going on for years. Ever since they stepped down as senior royals in 2020, they've been signing deals left and right. First with Netflix, then with Spotify, and even book deals. And every time they release something, it stirs up new drama. Remember the Harry and Meghan documentary on Netflix? That show gave the world a front row seat to their side of the story. How Meghan felt mistreated, how the press targeted her, and how the royal family supposedly didn't support them. It wasn't just a documentary, it was a bombshell. The royal family reportedly never saw it before it was released, and when it came out, they were furious. Then came Prince Harry's book, Spare. Oh boy, if you thought the documentary was bad, the book was 10 times worse. Harry didn't hold back at all. He talked about fights with Prince William, issues with his father, and even some shocking personal moments, like the time he claimed Charles made jokes about not being his real father. The royal family has always had a rule: never complain, never explain. But after that book, even they couldn't just ignore it. So now, with Meghan coming back with a new Netflix show, you can imagine how Charles must be feeling. The truth is, King Charles has been trying to move forward. He's the king now. He has bigger things to deal with: state matters, charity work, royal events. But every time Meghan and Harry put something out, it drags the family back into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The royal family reportedly hates these media projects because they can't control the narrative. They don't get a say in what's shown, and by the time they see it, the damage is already done. After the Harry and Meghan documentary, sources said Charles was deeply hurt. He had just become king, and instead of the media focusing on his leadership, all anyone could talk about was Harry and Meghan's accusations. And after Spare, it was even worse. Charles was dealing with the stress of his new role, and suddenly, his own son was attacking the family in a best-selling book. Now, with another Netflix show on the way, Charles might be thinking the same thing again. Here we go, another problem. Insider reports on King Charles's reaction. So, what do sources say about how King Charles is reacting to Meghan's new show? Well, some royal insiders claim he's not happy at all. One report suggests that Charles feels disappointed and frustrated because he thought Meghan and Harry would move on from this kind of content. The royal family had hoped that after their previous Netflix deal and the release of Spare, the couple would shift their focus to other things, maybe charity work or private business ventures. But now, with another Netflix show, it feels like history is repeating itself. Another source said that Charles is worried about what the show might include. Will it be another indirect attack on the royal family? Will it bring up old wounds that he's trying to heal? At the end of the day, Charles isn't just a king. He's a father. And no parent wants to see their family's private struggles turned into entertainment for the world to see. Imagine dealing with family problems and then waking up to see them being discussed on Netflix. It's frustrating. There's also speculation that Charles sees this as another PR stunt by Meghan and Harry to stay relevant. Some royal experts believe that without their connection to the royal family, their projects wouldn't get as much attention. So, is Meghan's new show just another way to keep the public interested in them? Charles might think so. Buckingham Palace's official stance. Now, here's where things get interesting. Has the palace said anything about this? The answer? Not really. If you've followed the royal family for a while, you know they have a strict policy: Never complain, never explain. That means they don't usually respond to rumors or scandals unless it's absolutely necessary. And so far, Buckingham Palace has stayed silent on Meghan's Netflix show. But silence doesn't mean approval. The palace often ignores things publicly, but behind closed doors, that's a different story. Insiders say the royal family is likely monitoring the situation very closely. If the show contains direct attacks on the monarchy, we might see a response, just like we did after Spare. In fact, let's talk about that. When Prince Harry's book came out, the palace refused to make a statement. But we did see something else. Prince William and King Charles started making more public appearances, engaging with the people, and showing unity. Some experts believe that was their way of countering the negative press without actually saying anything. So, could we see the same strategy this time? Maybe. If Meghan's show causes a big uproar, Charles might not say anything directly, but we could see more carefully planned public appearances to shift the attention back to the monarchy. Silence versus issuing a statement. What does it mean? If Buckingham Palace stays silent, it could mean two things. Either they don't want to give the show more publicity. If the royal family responds, it only makes the story bigger. So, by staying quiet, they hope the news cycle moves on quickly, or they're handling it privately. Just because they aren't saying anything publicly doesn't mean Charles isn't taking action. He might be having conversations behind the scenes about what this means for the family. But what if the palace does issue a statement? That would be big because it would mean the show contains something so damaging that they can't ignore it. This has only happened a few times before, like when the Queen responded to Oprah's interview saying, "Recollections may vary." If Charles decides to speak out, it could be to defend the monarchy or to clear up any misinformation. But if they choose silence, it likely means they think the show isn't worth acknowledging. Social media's take on Meghan's Netflix show. Now, if there's one place where opinions come flying faster than ever, it's Twitter. Or should we say, 10. Whatever you call it, it's a battlefield whenever Meghan Markle is involved. The moment news of her show dropped, Twitter exploded. Meghan's supporters were quick to praise her. They called her inspiring, independent, and a woman who refuses to be silenced. They said she is creating her own path, far away from the royal family, and that she deserves success. But then, on the other side, her critics were not holding back. Some accused her of playing the victim, again. Others said she was using the royal family's name to stay relevant. And a few even asked, who is even watching this? And then, of course, there were the memes. Twitter loves a good meme. Some people joked that King Charles was throwing his tea across the room when he heard about the show. Others made fun of how every Meghan project seems to involve a new way to tell the same old story. Her struggles, the royal family, and how she was treated unfairly. And let's not forget YouTube. If you type in Meghan Markle Netflix right now, you'll find two kinds of videos. The first type? Glowing reviews from fans who say Meghan is breaking barriers. The second type? Harsh criticism, with titles like Meghan's Netflix disaster or Nobody cares about Meghan's show. The divide is real. Then there's TikTok, where younger audiences are more active. And this is where things get really interesting. Some TikTokers are defending Meghan, saying the hate she gets is unfair and over the top. But then, there's another group making sarcastic videos, rolling their eyes and saying, "Here we go again." Some TikToks even compare Meghan's show to other royal dramas like The Crown, saying it's all just entertainment at this point. How the British tabloids are covering it now. If you thought Twitter was brutal, wait till you hear what the British tabloids have been saying. Because if there's one thing they love, it's a juicy royal scandal. The Daily Mail wasted no time in going all in. Their headlines? Dramatic as always. They called Meghan's new show another desperate attempt to stay in the spotlight. Some articles suggested that King Charles is deeply frustrated, while others speculated that Prince William is absolutely livid. Do we know if that's true? Not really. But does it make a good story? Absolutely. And then we have The Sun. They ran with headlines like Meghan's Netflix nightmare and Royal family left shaking their heads. One article even claimed that Buckingham Palace staffers are tired of hearing about Meghan's projects. Apparently, some insiders say the royal family has adopted a just ignore it approach, hoping this phase will pass. But wait, there's more. Royal commentators, the people who are basically professional Meghan watchers, have been making their rounds on TV and in the papers. Some say this show is her way of throwing another punch at the monarchy. Others argue that she's just trying to carve out a career outside of the royal world but can't seem to do it without bringing up the past. And let's not forget the opinion pieces. There are columnists writing long, dramatic articles about how Meghan is embarrassing herself and how she and Harry have lost credibility. Some are even questioning whether Netflix will continue working with her if this project flops. Sensational headlines and narratives. If there's one thing tabloids love, it's a catchy headline. And Meghan Markle gives them plenty to work with. Some papers have already started calling this show a failure before it's even had a chance to prove itself. Headlines like "Meghan's big gamble fails" and "Netflix regrets signing Meghan" are making the rounds. But here's the funny part. Some of these same outlets were calling her project highly anticipated just a few months ago. So, which is it? Other headlines are making it sound like King Charles himself has had a full-blown meltdown over this. King Charles furious over Meghan's new show, some claim. But if you actually read the article, it's just a royal expert saying he might not be happy. And then, of course, we have the more dramatic narratives. Some tabloids are painting Meghan as someone who is trying to take down the royal family, one Netflix deal at a time. Others suggest she is just trying to make a name for herself outside of being Prince Harry's wife, but struggling to do so. So, what's the truth? Well, that depends on who you ask. To her fans, Meghan is a woman who refuses to be silenced. To her critics, she is someone who keeps playing the same story over and over again. And to the tabloids, she is simply good business. Because whether people love her or hate her, one thing is for sure, everyone keeps talking about her. And that's the biggest twist of all. Meghan Markle, whether you support her or not, remains one of the most talked about women in the world. Love her or hate her, she always finds a way to be at the center of the conversation. Why the royals are worried about media influence. If there's one thing the royal family fears, it's losing control over their image. Think about it. This is a family that has existed for centuries. They have strict rules on how to behave, how to dress, even how to wave at people. Everything is carefully planned to make sure they always look strong, graceful, and respectable. But here's the problem. In today's world, the media is more powerful than ever. People don't just believe what they see on the news anymore. They believe what they see on social media, in documentaries, and in TV shows. And Meghan Markle knows exactly how to use this to her advantage. Just look at her and Harry's past projects. In their Netflix documentary, they talked about how the royal family treated Meghan unfairly. In Harry's book Spare, he exposed private family drama. These stories made headlines all over the world. And even though the palace never responded directly, the damage was already done. Now, Meghan is back with another Netflix project. And even if she doesn't mention the royals by name, people will still look for hidden messages. Will she take another indirect dig at the family? Will she bring up past struggles again? Or is this just another way to stay in the spotlight? No matter what the show is about, the royal family knows one thing for sure. Every time Meghan speaks, their control over the story gets weaker. The power of storytelling in shaping public perception. Here's the thing about storytelling. It changes how people see the world. And Meghan is really good at telling stories that make people feel something. Remember when she said she felt trapped in the royal system? When she shared that she struggled with mental health while in the palace? When she said someone in the family questioned what skin color her son would have? These were not just words. They were emotional moments that made people pick sides. That's the problem for King Charles. Because even if he has his own version of events, he can't just sit down with Netflix and tell his story. That's not how the monarchy works. They follow the old rule. Never complain, never explain. But in today's world, staying silent can look like guilt. So when Meghan shares her side, whether it's through a Netflix show, an interview, or a podcast, people listen. They feel for her. And with every new project, the royal family looks more and more like the villains in her story. Meghan and Harry have built their own brand, one that is very different from the royal family. They are modern, outspoken, and not afraid to call out injustice. Meghan especially focuses on personal struggles and empowerment. It's a brand that appeals to younger people, Americans, and those who are tired of old traditions. But the royal family is all about tradition, duty, and silence. They don't share personal struggles. They don't get emotional in public. They represent something much bigger than themselves. This is why Meghan and Harry's way of doing things is a huge problem for King Charles. Because when the world sees a younger, more relatable royal couple telling their story, suddenly, the monarchy looks outdated. It makes people ask, do we even need the royal family anymore? And that's the real danger. If people stop caring about the monarchy, what happens next? What this means for King Charles's reign. King Charles has waited his entire life to be king. Now that he finally has the crown, the last thing he wants is more drama. But let's be real, his reign has already been full of it. From Prince Andrew's scandals to Meghan and Harry's explosive interviews, Charles has had to deal with one controversy after another. And this new Netflix show might add even more problems to his plate. On one hand, he wants to keep the royal family strong and respected. He wants people to see him as a stable and wise leader. But on the other hand, there's a constant storm of drama that he just can't escape. How do you keep a dignified image when your own family members are airing out private issues on TV? Every time a new Meghan and Harry project comes out, Charles has to make a choice: ignore it and hope people forget. But that can make him look weak, respond, and defend the monarchy. But that breaks the royal tradition of staying silent. Either way, it's a no-win situation. Right now, King Charles is not as popular as Queen Elizabeth was. People respected her because she was calm, strong, and never got involved in drama. But Charles, he's stepping into the role at a time when the royal family is being questioned more than ever. Meghan and Harry's media influence is part of that. Every time they bring up royal issues, it adds to a growing debate. Is the monarchy still relevant? Charles knows that his legacy depends on how he handles these challenges. If he lets too much drama take over, his reign might be remembered for all the wrong reasons. Potential long-term consequences. So, what happens next? Will things ever go back to normal for the royal family? Or will Meghan and Harry's influence change the monarchy forever? One possibility is that King Charles will cut ties with Harry and Meghan completely. There have already been rumors that Harry might lose his royal titles. If the drama continues, Charles might decide that the best way to protect the monarchy is to fully separate from them. Another possibility? Future royals might change how they handle media. Prince William and Kate Middleton are already doing things differently. They share more personal moments, but they control their own narrative. Maybe they've learned from Meghan and Harry's impact. One thing is certain: the royal family can't afford to ignore the power of modern media anymore. So, does Meghan Markle's Netflix show really matter? Yes, it's not just another TV project. It's a sign of how storytelling is reshaping the monarchy. King Charles is in a tough spot. He wants to keep the royal family respected and stable, but Meghan and Harry keep pulling them into the spotlight in ways he can't control. So now the real question is, how much more of this can the monarchy take? What do you think? Is the royal family handling this the right way? Or should King Charles finally speak out? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates on the latest royal drama. See you in the next video.
But it's nice to have freedom, you know. It's nice to be out in the woods and out in nature.
Courtroom is completely quiet. Everyone is watching, waiting. Parker Schnabel stands there, his face pale, his hands shaking. Then, the judge finally speaks. The words come slow but hit like a hammer. The room feels heavy, almost like the air itself has thickened. Parker blinks, his breathing uneven. Then, before anyone can react, his legs give out. His body tilts forward. And just like that, he collapses. Gasps fill the room. People rush toward him. Some whisper in shock. Others just stare. No one can believe what they just saw. But what exactly did the judge say? What led to this moment? And what happens now to Parker Schnabel after hearing his sentence? The legal trouble. What really happened? It all started like any other mining season for Parker Schnabel. He and his crew were chasing gold, working hard and trying to hit big numbers. But behind the scenes, something serious was brewing, something that would soon land Parker in the biggest trouble of his life. Several months ago, rumors began swirling that Parker's crew had crossed into protected land. Some environmentalists spotted heavy equipment operating too close to a protected river stream in Alaska. They claimed the mining activity destroyed the riverbanks and affected local fish habitats. At first, it seemed like just another complaint. After all, mining is messy, and these kinds of allegations pop up often. But this time, it didn't die down. The local environmental agency started paying attention. They sent their people to the site to inspect what was going on. When they saw the damage, they were shocked. The muddy water, broken land, and destroyed plant life painted a grim picture. What was once a peaceful river now looked like a disaster zone. Soon, state officials jumped in. What started as a small investigation quickly snowballed. Federal environmental agencies got involved because the protected area was also under federal law. That made the case much more serious. They accused Parker's mining operation of breaking multiple laws: illegal mining, damaging protected land, and polluting the water. According to their findings, Parker's crew had crossed the legal boundary lines. They had mined deeper and wider than they were allowed. Some reports even claimed that Parker knew about it but pushed forward because he was desperate for gold. The pressure to get good results for Gold Rush was also mentioned. Some believed Parker was willing to risk everything just to create high-stakes drama for the cameras. After months of investigation, things turned ugly. Parker was officially charged. The charges were serious: environmental destruction, illegal mining, and even endangering his own workers. They claimed his rush for gold put people's safety at risk. Now here's where it gets even worse. If found guilty, Parker was facing millions in fines, possible prison time, and losing his mining licenses. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about his entire future. The courtroom drama. The moment. Parker collapsed. The courtroom was packed. Reporters from every major outlet were there. Fans of Gold Rush showed up, some wearing shirts that read, "Team Parker." Industry folks, rival miners, and even government officials filled the seats. You could feel the tension in the air. Parker walked in looking pale but calm. He had his lawyers by his side. He tried to smile for the cameras, but everyone could see the fear in his eyes. This wasn't a mining site. This was a courtroom, and there was no way to dig himself out of this one. The judge came in and started reading the charges and the final sentence. As the words echoed through the room, you could see Parker's face change. His hands shook as he grabbed the table in front of him. The sentence was worse than anyone expected. The judge fined him millions of dollars. He was also banned from mining on federal land for the next 5 years. But the worst part was the potential jail time. The judge said Parker could face up to 2 years in prison if he violated any part of the sentence. His entire career, his family business, everything he had worked for was crumbling. And then it happened. As the judge finished speaking, Parker's face went white. His eyes rolled back, and he collapsed right there in front of everyone. Gasps filled the room. His mother screamed. Reporters scrambled to capture the moment. EMTs rushed into the courtroom, pushing people aside. They tried to wake him up. For a moment, it felt like the entire room had stopped breathing. Some thought he had a heart attack. Others whispered it was a panic attack. It was heartbreaking to watch. Here was a young man who had conquered Alaska's wild lands, but couldn't handle the weight of this sentence. Parker was carried out of the courtroom on a stretcher. Cameras followed him all the way to the ambulance. What this means for Gold Rush and Discovery Channel. The big question now was, what happens to Gold Rush? Discovery Channel stayed quiet at first, but insiders revealed they were in panic mode. Parker wasn't just a cast member, he was the star. The show was built around him, his story and his wild mining adventures. Losing him would be like losing the heart of Gold Rush. There was talk that Discovery might cut ties if the backlash grew. Advertisers were already pulling back. Some companies didn't want to be associated with someone facing prison time. Sponsors started canceling deals, and the network worried about losing viewers. The financial impact was massive. Millions of dollars were at risk. Parker's crew also worried about their jobs. Without Parker, there might be no show, no mining operation, and no future for the team. Lawsuits also started popping up. Some crew members claimed they were forced to work in unsafe conditions. Others said they didn't know they were mining illegally and now feared fines or jail time themselves. It wasn't just a TV scandal anymore. It was a real-life disaster. Parker Schnabel's statement and emotional apology days later, Parker finally broke his silence. He released an emotional video statement from the hospital. His voice was shaky, his eyes red from crying. "I never wanted this," he began. "I grew up in the mining world. All I ever wanted was to make my family proud and run a good operation. But somewhere along the way, I lost control." He admitted that the pressure got to him. The cameras, the deadlines, the expectations. It was too much. He confessed that he cut corners, hoping it would just be a one-time thing. But that mistake cost him everything. "I let down my family, my crew, and every single person who believed in me," Parker said, choking back tears. "I want to say I'm sorry. Truly sorry. I wish I could go back and fix it, but now, all I can do is face the consequences." He also talked about his mental health struggles. He said the pressure of being on TV, running a massive operation, and keeping up with everyone's expectations became too heavy. He admitted he was scared of losing everything. His words hit hard. Fans who had turned against him started showing support again, but the damage was done. Parker knew his life would never be the same. What's next? Parker Schnabel's future after the sentence. Now everyone wants to know, what happens next for Parker Schnabel? There's a chance he might serve jail time if he slips up again. The court made it clear that any small mistake could land him behind bars. Even if he avoids jail, losing his mining licenses is a huge blow. Without access to land, Parker can't mine. And without mining, there's no show. Some people think Parker might leave the spotlight for good. Maybe he'll walk away from mining and TV to live a quiet life. Others believe he's too strong to quit and will fight to rebuild his name. There's also talk that Parker could write a book or do a documentary about his rise and fall. A lot of fans say they would watch it, especially if he tells the full truth about what really happened. Some suggest he should start his own YouTube channel, sharing his story and rebuilding his life one video at a time. The mining community is divided. Some still respect him. Others say they'll never work with him again. But no matter what happens, Parker's life will never be the same after this scandal. The only thing certain is that this story isn't over yet. People will be watching every move Parker makes from now on. The courtroom scene was nothing short of shocking. Parker Schnabel's collapse after hearing his sentence left everyone stunned. But what happens next? Will he fight back, or is this the end of the road for him? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This story is far from over. If you want to stay updated on everything that unfolds, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
The Queen is leading royal engagements while King Charles and the Princess of Wales each undergo cancer treatment. Queen Camila met patients and staff at Bath's Royal United Hospital before officially opening up a new centre for cancer services.
Some of the most famous people in the world have faced a battle they never expected: cancer. Even with all the money, fame, and power, they are still human, just like everyone else. Behind the big smiles and fancy clothes, they have fought silent battles that most people never hear about. One of them is Queen Camila, someone no one would ever think has been touched by this disease. These stories are not often talked about, but they are real. Some of these celebrities have beaten cancer, while others are still fighting. Their journeys are filled with pain, strength, and hope. They have kept going, even when things got hard. This is the side of their lives that many never see, the part that shows who they truly are. Queen Camila's private battle cancer is something that touches every family in one way or another, and Queen Camila is no exception. Many people may not know, but she has been deeply involved in cancer awareness for years. Her mother, Rosalind Shand, died of osteoporosis, but cancer has affected many of those close to her, including friends and extended family members. This has made her a strong advocate for cancer research and early detection. She has supported multiple charities, worked with cancer organizations, and raised awareness about the importance of medical checkups. But lately, rumors have been swirling about Queen Camilla's own health. Ever since King Charles was diagnosed with cancer, there have been quiet whispers that she too might be facing health struggles. Some reports have suggested that she has been undergoing medical tests, and while no official statement has confirmed any diagnosis, the speculation continues. The stress of supporting her husband through his cancer battle has only added fuel to these rumors. Even if Camilla is unwell, she has not let it show. She has continued with her royal duties, attending public events and standing by King Charles's side. She has carried herself with grace, never letting her emotions take over in public. Imagine how hard that must be, seeing your loved one go through something so difficult while possibly dealing with your own health struggles at the same time. It takes incredible strength to push through, but Camilla has shown that she is more than capable. Her story is a reminder that life doesn't pause, even when we're hurting. She has shown the world what it means to be strong under pressure. Sometimes the greatest battles are fought in silence, and Queen Camilla's resilience is proof that true strength is often unseen. Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman was a superhero on screen, but his greatest fight was off-screen, a battle he never let the world see. For 4 years, he kept his colon cancer diagnosis a secret. He was in and out of surgeries and undergoing chemotherapy while filming some of the biggest movies of his career. Imagine playing a powerful warrior like Black Panther's T'Challa, knowing that you are fighting your own war inside your body. He worked on Black Panther, Da 5 Bloods, 21 Bridges, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, all while dealing with the effects of his treatments. Sometimes he would lose weight, and people would make fun of him online, not knowing the pain he was going through. But he never responded. He stayed silent and focused on his work. His passing in 2020 shocked the world. Nobody saw it coming because he had never spoken about his illness. But after his death, people started talking about colon cancer more, especially among young Black men who are at a higher risk. His story became a wake-up call for many. Chadwick's life teaches us that even in our darkest moments, we can still inspire others. His strength, determination, and ability to push through the pain showed us what true heroism looks like. And if there's one lesson we can take from his story, it's this: don't ignore your health. Get checked, even if you feel fine. It could save your life. Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda has always been a fighter. Whether it was standing up for social justice or revolutionizing fitness, she has never been one to back down. So, when she was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, she faced it with the same fearless attitude. At 84, she announced her diagnosis publicly. She didn't hide it. She didn't let it define her, and she certainly didn't let it slow her down. She told the world, "This is very treatable," and continued with her activism, acting, and fitness routine like nothing had changed. She went through chemotherapy, and while she admitted it made her tired, she refused to let it break her spirit. She remained open about her journey, showing people that aging and illness don't mean the end of a fulfilling life. Her courage and positive attitude inspired millions. Jane's story is proof that the way we think about our struggles matters. She faced cancer like she faced everything else in life, with strength, grace, and a never-give-up mindset. And that's a lesson we can all carry with us. Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is known for playing Wolverine, a character with super healing powers. But in real life, he's had to fight a battle that no superpowers could fix. He has been diagnosed with skin cancer multiple times, and each time, he has come back stronger. He first discovered he had basal cell carcinoma in 2013. Since then, he has had several treatments to remove cancerous spots. But instead of keeping it private, he used his experience to warn others. He regularly tells his fans to wear sunscreen and get regular skin checkups. "Don't be like me," he once said. "Wear sunscreen." Simple words, but they carry a powerful message. Many people ignore sun protection, but skin cancer is one of the most common and preventable types of cancer. Hugh's journey reminds us that small habits, like wearing sunscreen and getting checked, can make a big difference. Cancer is scary, but prevention is in our hands. Olivia Newton-John. Olivia Newton-John was more than just a singer and actress. She was a fighter. She battled breast cancer 3 times, and even as the disease spread, she remained full of light and love. Instead of letting cancer defeat her, she used it as motivation to help others. She founded the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Wellness and Research Center, providing support and treatment to those facing the same battle. She also explored alternative healing methods, combining science with holistic treatments to improve patients' quality of life. Through it all, she kept her positive attitude. She chose love over fear, hope over despair. Even in her final years, she continued to inspire and uplift people around the world. Her story reminds us that a true warrior is not defined by whether they win or lose the battle, but by how they fight it. And Olivia fought with everything she had. Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is known for his tough guy roles, but in real life, he fought one of his biggest battles quietly. In 2003, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, but he didn't make a big announcement or seek sympathy. Instead, he underwent treatment privately and continued working as if nothing had happened. Thanks to early detection, he was able to get treatment in time. That's an important lesson, especially for men over 50. Prostate cancer is common, but if caught early, it can be treated. De Niro's approach to cancer was simple. Face it, fight it, and move forward. His story is a reminder that regular checkups can save lives. Sofia Vergara. Most people don't know that Sofia Vergara had cancer at just 28 years old. She was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, a disease that many associate with older people. But cancer doesn't have an age limit. She had to undergo surgery to remove her thyroid and go through treatments, but she never let it slow her down. She kept working, smiling, and living life to the fullest. Today, she uses her platform to raise awareness about early screenings. Her story is a reminder that cancer can happen to anyone, at any age, and that paying attention to our health can make all the difference. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's battle with throat cancer took away one of his greatest assets, his voice. He underwent treatment that damaged his vocal cords, making it difficult for him to speak. But he didn't let that stop him. He found a way to keep going, using AI technology to recreate his voice for Top Gun: Maverick. It was an emotional moment for fans, proving that even when life takes something away, we can find new ways to move forward. His story is a testament to resilience, adaptability, and the power of technology in modern medicine. Even when the odds are against us, we can still find ways to keep our dreams alive. Life can change in an instant, and these stories remind us that no one is untouchable, not even the most famous faces in the world. Their strength, courage, and determination to keep going, no matter how tough the fight, are truly inspiring. Cancer is a battle no one fights alone, and raising awareness is more important than ever. If this video moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that matter. And let us know in the comments, who's a celebrity you were surprised to learn had faced this battle?